ticket.
Can you believe some of the most beloved actors in all of Hollywood decided to quit at the top of their game? How does someone make such a life-changing decision like that? Today's list is all about some of the biggest Hollywood names who made the choice to step away from the spotlight. Some of them decided to focus on other projects, others just got a little too old, while others stepped away due to some tragic circumstances. Did your favorite actors make the list? Stick around and find out. Let's get started. What's your favorite Sean Connery role? Is it as Indiana Jones' dad in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade? Is it that time he played Robin Hood? How about his Oscar-winning performance in The Untouchables? No, it definitely has to be his legendary turn as the iconic super spy James Bond, right?
Bond. James Bond.
How could it not be? To many, Sean Connery still is the James Bond. And I don't think that's ever going to change. The point is, Sean Connery had a long, successful career in Hollywood. So why did he end up walking away? Well, there's a few factors that led Connery to go off and drink shaken not stirred martinis on a beach somewhere rather than continue to act in movies. He had been contemplating retirement for a bit, but agreed to star in the comic adaptation The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. To say that was a tough shoot for Connery would be putting it lightly, and in the end, the film ended up being panned by practically everyone. After that, Connery decided to walk away from the business entirely, which is a pretty epic move. Rather than wait around for one more quality movie to officially end his career on a high note, Connery said, nah, and was perfectly fine having a huge critical flop as his last film. After that, Connery was almost tempted to return for the fourth Indiana Jones movie after talking to Steven Spielberg, but ultimately decided against it. And you know what? That's probably for the best given how that movie turned out. You'd be hard-pressed to find someone who doesn't like Rick Moranis. Is he officially America's sweetheart? Do I have the ability to bestow such a prestigious title? Who knows, but I'm doing it anyway. Moranis was a staple in some classic 80s and 90s films, including Ghostbusters, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, Little Shop of Horrors, and Spaceballs, as well as his famous Canadian show, SCTV. He was truly at the top of his game when tragedy hit. In 1991, Moranis' wife passed away, and over the next few years, he had trouble raising his two children on his own. In order to be more involved with their lives, as well as just growing tired of Hollywood, Moranis retired in 1997. Now, this wasn't really a full-on retirement, as Moranis would pop up every now and then in a voice role, because hey, why not, right? If you're retired from live-action films but still want to make a quick buck or two, why not just lend your voice for a paycheck? I feel that's the dream for most actors. Anyways, but the story doesn't end here. It was announced earlier in 2020 that Rick Moranis was making his glorious return to live-action projects by returning for the Disney Plus sequel, Shrunk. And now he's even showing up in commercials with Ryan Reynolds. His return announcement has probably been one of the only good things of 2020. So, of course, the universe had to throw a change-up at us by having Rick Moranis sucker punched on the street in New York for no reason, but at least he's back to acting again. Daniel Day-Lewis holds two very high honors. He's a serious contender for World's Greatest Living Actor, as well as the definite winner of World's Worst Person to be Trapped in an Elevator with if he's in character. I mean, we all know by now that Daniel Day-Lewis was an intense method actor, mostly staying in character throughout shooting his insane projects to better portray his characters on screen. And while that might be a little extreme to some, you can't argue with his results. He's been nominated for Best Actor 6 times and won 3 of them. His last film was The Phantom Thread, which saw him play a fashion designer by the name of Reynolds Woodcock. For the part, the esteemed actor watched countless fashion shows from the 40s and 50s, studied famous designers throughout history, learned to sew, and apprenticed under the head of the costume department of the New York City Ballet, and then finally recreated a famous dress on his own using his new skills. Yeah, with that much prep for every role he did, it's no wonder why he would want to retire. It's been said that after many difficult roles and the toll his acting style takes, The Phantom Thread was the straw that broke the camel's back and convinced Daniel Day-Lewis to officially announce his retirement. Seriously, dude, you've earned it. Go do something more mundane for a bit, will ya? 2014 was a very busy year for Cameron Diaz. She starred in 3 major studio movies: The Other Woman, Sex Tape, and Annie. You would think with such a robust schedule, that would suggest Diaz would remain acting for a while, but that surprisingly wasn't the case. After those films released, Diaz announced her retirement from acting, choosing to focus on other things. You would think that would be a risky move career-wise, but it seems like Diaz did absolutely everything right. After building up her wealth and reputation as an actress, Diaz was able to pivot that stardom into writing several books related to health and wellness, as well as becoming a successful investor.
Did it look like I had much of a choice?
With all that on her plate, it doesn't look like Diaz will make a return to the big screen anytime soon. There was a time when Jack Gleeson was probably the most hated person on television. He of course played the monstrous King Joffrey in the uber-hit Game of Thrones, and every week we the audience got to find more and more ways to revile this repugnant piece of human garbage. After his character was killed off in season 4, which I guess is a spoiler, but come on, that show's been over for like a while now. Anyways, Jack Gleeson could have probably secured any role he wanted after Game of Thrones, but rather than pursuing acting, Gleeson took a step back and announced his retirement, saying he wanted to focus on academia instead, and just didn't enjoy acting as much as he used to. And I can understand that. After years of playing a humongous pile of burnt used diapers, it was probably better to step back and think about other things. But I guess the acting itch is back for Gleeson. In 2020, after 6 years, it was announced that Gleeson signed up for a new BBC comedy called Out of Her Mind. Hey, 6 years is plenty of time to do more school and realize that you hate everything about school and want to act again. So why not? Gene Hackman is a fantastic actor. I don't even have a joke for this or anything, it's just a fact. He's great in everything. I'm currently accepting members for the I Heart Gene Hackman fan club if anyone's interested. We meet every 3rd Tuesday and just watch Superman the movie and The Birdcage over and over again. So you can understand why I'm so sad with Hackman retiring from Hollywood and stepping away. His last official film was the forgettable 2004 comedy Welcome to Mooseport. After that, he just didn't feel the urge to return to acting. Instead, Hackman focused on other projects, including becoming an official novelist, to which he was actually quite successful. He started by co-writing a few historical fiction novels with an archaeologist, and then moved to writing his own solo books like the western Payback at Morning Peak and the cop thriller Pursuit. And yes, my fan group reads the books too. You'll be hard-pressed to find a more iconic actress than Audrey Hepburn. Her name alone conjures up memories of the classic Hollywood era, and she's so famous, I'm pretty sure my first words were Audrey Hepburn. Either that or Mama, I always forget. Anyway, Audrey Hepburn was one of the most in-demand actresses working in Hollywood in the 50s and 60s, which makes her decision to walk away from the game a bit of a shock. After her 1967 film Wait Until Dark, which earned her her 5th Best Actress nomination, Hepburn wanted to devote more time to her family and ended up taking a 9-year hiatus from the big screen. Man, what did Hepburn do every day for 9 years if not acting? Do you think she got really good at making model trains or playing ping pong or something like that?
No.
But she couldn't stay away forever. She was eventually lured back to Hollywood and staged a small comeback with the 1976 film Robin and Marion opposite Sean Connery. Though that didn't last for very long. After that she did Bloodline in 1979, then They All Laughed in 1981, and basically retired again, only returning for a small role in the 1989 Steven Spielberg film Always. Robert Redford basically just ran out of stuff to do. The famous actor had been on our movie screens since the 60s and starred in just about every type of movie you could think of. So it was only natural that after so long, Redford wanted to move on to different things. While his last official live-action film being 2018's The Old Man and the Gun, Redford got to charm us with his charisma and wit one last time. But that's only partly true. He did cameo briefly in Avengers Endgame, reprising his role from the Winter Soldier. So although The Old Man and the Gun was his last official starring role, as of now, his last on-screen appearance is in the highest grossing picture of all time, which is a fun way to cap off an incredible career. And don't count him out just yet. He might focus more on just directing projects in the future since he doesn't have to worry about acting anymore. Yeah, when you're Robert Redford, you can basically do whatever you want in your old age. If we were listing the most popular teen stars of all time, Amanda Bynes would certainly be on that list. But like many uber-famous teen actors, Bynes suffered from some serious issues thanks to substance abuse. After a few successful 2000s projects and then a bit of a lull, Bynes seemed to hit a bit of a comeback with 2010's Easy A. But she decided to not pursue that career boost and decided to focus on other things instead, like studying fashion at the Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising in Los Angeles. Even if you've never seen one of her movies, you most likely know Shirley Temple's name. Well, it's that or you know the drink named after her. Temple was one of the most famous child actresses ever and starred in more than 40 films before she was 21. Can you imagine how much work that would have been for someone so young? So it's not surprising in the slightest that Temple retired from the big screen in 1950 at the age of just 22 years old. Wow, can you imagine doing that much work and then noping out of Hollywood at 22 years old? Man, that's the dream. Which actor on this list would you like to see come back? Are there any that we missed? Let us know in the comments below, and while you're there, be sure to hit that big like and subscribe button for more awesome movie content like this. Thanks for watching Screen Rant. See you next time.